Hello, once again, my Yugi Bros. Today we are doing a top 10 of what I would love to see for Union support in the Speed Duel Battle City box. Unlike the last video, I'm going to try to keep this intro as short as possible, so let's get into this, shall we? We're going to kick this list off with something I actually don't think will come in the box, and that is XY Dragon Cannon, YZ Tank Dragon, and XZ Tank Cannon. All three of the other fusion combinations that go to XYZ. The reason I don't think these are actually going to come over right away as it stands is because they are all 2-card combos. And what I mean by that is the way to summon these things, if you didn't know. XYZ Dragon Cannon, for example, reads must be special summoned from your extra deck by banishing the above cards you control. You do not use polymerization. All of them say this. So the requirement is actually much easier. You don't need a polymerization or any other means to fuse them. You just have to have them on the field and you banish them as opposed to sending them to the graveyard. The problem I have here with these 3 cards is that because it's just 2 monsters and you summon a 22, 21, or 24 card beat stick that additionally has another effect, that seems kind of good. Now, I don't know the efficiency that it's going to take to kind of put these monsters on the field. I don't know exactly what kind of cards we're going to be getting that can drop unions faster onto the field if we do get any, for example. So I guess I'm kind of building this on the assumption that some of the cards on this list that you'll see are also going to be in the box and therefore would speed up the process of putting some of these monsters on the field, which is why I wouldn't directly put these into the game just yet. But if we don't get some of the cards that I'm going to suggest, maybe these would be okay, because you would obviously summon one, have to protect it for a turn, and then summon the other one to get something like this on the board. And at that point, it's almost like tribute summoning for a monster, which all of these have kind of the type of stats for a 1 tribute monster, but their effects are slightly better. Let's go into exactly what these 3 cards do, though. XY Dragon Cannon is a level 6 light machine fusion effect, 2200 attack, 1900 defense. Its materials are X Head Cannon and Y Dragon Head. This card must be special summoned from your extra deck by banishing the above cards you control. You do not use polymerization, as I've said before. So then this card has a continuous effect that says you cannot special summon from the graveyard. That's already a big downside. I guess it depends what you're playing. It's not like Speed Duels thrives on special summoning from the graveyard. In any deck that does, you're not really playing them in contingency with XYZs. But, you know, it does have that restriction, just in case it ends up being relevant. Its effect is you can discard 1 card, then target 1 face-up spell trap card your opponent controls, destroy that target. So this has the simple ability of popping face-up spell and trap cards at the cost of discarding 1 card. Right now, that's pretty good. Getting rid of, Zone of the Spirit, Nightmare Will, etc. So in this current format, the card would be pretty good. But moving on to the next one. YZ Tank Dragon is a level 6 light machine fusion effect, 2100 attack, 2200 defense that takes Y Dragon Head and Z Middle Tank as its materials. Has the same first effect as to how to summon it. Has the same second continuous effect where you cannot special summon from the graveyard. And then its ability is you can discard 1 card, then target 1 face-down monster your opponent controls, destroy that target. So this is good to get rid of face-down monsters if your opponent is kind of just setting out a bunch of things or hoping that a flip effect is going to resolve in their favor. You can destroy the face-down monster before it ever gets a chance to flip. The last one is XZ Tank Cannon. This is also a light level 6 machine fusion effect, 2400 attack points, it's the most of the 3, and 2100 defense. Takes X Head Cannon and Z Metal Tank. Has the first way to summon it effect, has the second continuous effect as the other 2. Its effect is you can discard 1 card, then target 1 face down spell or trap card your opponent controls, destroy that target. So keep in mind, if they flip it face up, it's no longer the same target, I believe, therefore it would not destroy it, similar to how if for some reason your opponent flipped the face-up card that XY Dragon Cannon was targeting face down, then you wouldn't resolve it either. Again, also you can use the same logic with YZ Tank Dragon. If it targets a face-down monster and your opponent flips that monster face-up in chain response to your Tank Dragon, it's not going to resolve. But still, all 3 of them kind of focus on what they need to do. Obviously, their one thing they are missing is destroying face-up monsters, And if we go into XYZ Dragon Cannon here, which takes X Head Cannon, Y Dragon Head, and Z Metal Tank, it's a level 8 Machine Infusion Effect Light attribute with 2800 attack and 2600 defense. Its effect is the same first summoning requirement by banishing them, the same second continuous effect that you can't special summon from your grave, but its effect is simply you can discard one card, then target one card your opponent controls, destroy that target. Any card, not even a monster, doesn't even have to be a face-up monster, any card whatsoever, destroy that target. So obviously this is going to be the one you want to bring out in most situations, and obviously this one is slated for the box. It was already confirmed. So obviously this one you have to put a little more work into because you have to put all 3 monsters on the field and then banish them, as opposed to the other 3 taking 2 materials. But as you can see why I kind of feel like the 2s might be too good. Listen, I would love for the 2s, the 2 fusion material ones, to be in this set. I think it would bring the whole thing, it would encompass it, bring it all together, and make it more efficient. But if they think putting 2 on the field is very easy, especially with some of the cards I'm going to mention later, then I understand why they would stay away from dropping these into the box and just keep XYZ Dragon Cannon. So with that being said, let's actually go into the top 10, starting with Frontline Base. This is a continuous spell card that says once per turn you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Union monster from your hand. That's all it does. But this allows for the 2 material fusions to thrive, and this is what I mean. I don't think we should probably get those 2 material summons yet, just because something like this, which I don't see not being in the box, could come into play. You activate this, you special summon one of them for free out of your hand, and then you normal summon the other one, you hard normal summon the other one, and then you have your fusion instantly. And that seems pretty strong if you just have the 2 material ones. But if your only fusion monster to choose from is XYZ Dragon Cannon, then you're not there yet, but it does give you a turn to protect the 2 that you've summoned, and then summon the 3rd one in the following turn to get your big fusion. So I think this is perfectly fine if you don't bring the 2 material fusions over. If you do, however, this deck might be relevant out the gate. And I guess it still depends on which ones you draw, because that will determine ultimately which ones you're summoning. But at the same time, you're still getting beat sticks out of this for free. And while something like Offerings to the Doom does exist and can out that strategy really fast, you can build it back up again easily the next turn. If you have no monsters on your board, again, special summon 1 from your hand, normal summon the other, assuming you have 2 more, summon another 2 material fusion. Seems really strong. So I think Frontline Base would be fine. I don't know, this is another reason why I think those fusions shouldn't come yet, but if they do, this deck just might be relevant as soon as the box drops, and I would love to see how this would play into the competitive scene of speed duels. The next card I have on my list is a bit of an interesting one, and that is MACHINA Peacekeeper. Now, before everyone goes nuts, no, I didn't include Gear Frame or Fortress or any of that crap on here. Just this card, and I understand also if I'm bringing a MACHINA into the picture, you would think I would bring in the old school MACHINAs like Force and his requisites, but I'm just talking Peacekeeper because it's a Union monster, and the reason we're talking about Peacekeeper is because this card would act as a Stratos for Unions, but not an overpowered Stratos. This card is a level 2 Earth Machine Union effect monster with 500 attack, 400 defense that says, when this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 Union monster from your deck to your hand. So just destroyed anywhere. Can be equipped, can just be on the field. If it's destroyed, add a Union. Cool way to add the 2 pieces. Obviously you won't be able to add X Head Cannon because he's a normal monster, but Y and Z can be added through this card. Its other effect is once per turn you can either target 1 machine monster you control, equip this card to that target, or unequip this card and special summon it, obviously as it's being a Union monster. If the equipped monster will be destroyed by battle or card effect, destroy this card instead. So this does protect from both battle and card effect if that equipped monster that this is being unioned to would be destroyed. Peacekeeper will be destroyed instead, and then Peacekeeper's effect will add a Union monster from your deck to your hand because it's destroyed through its own effect, and that's pretty cool. So it actually adds an extra layer of protection to your monsters, and also then searches something when that monster would be destroyed, because this will be destroyed instead. I think this is really cool. I think this is perfectly balanced. I don't think this is insane. with Frontline Base, for example, you could special summon this and then normal summon one of your pieces and then equip Peacekeeper to it, protecting the monster for the turn that, you know, you are trying to protect it for, you know, 1 or 2 turns. Then, you know, if the monster would be destroyed, Peacekeeper dies instead. You search the other combo piece you need for the specific fusion you want to make. And assuming the thing that was equipped to Peacekeeper originally survives till the next turn, you then normal summon the other piece you added and then make your 2-card fusion. If those, again, like I said, come over here. If not, you try to make your XYZ. I think the card's perfectly fine, and I would love to see this come over to Speed Duels. Next on the list, we have Rollout. This is a normal trap that says target 1 Union monster in your graveyard. Equip that target to a monster you control that would be an appropriate target for that Union monster's effect. Simply stating, let's say you have a Y or a Z and you have an X on the field. You can equip that Y or Z from your graveyard to the monster and then use those monsters' effects to then unequip themselves and put them on the field, and then have your 2 monsters that you can banish for your card. Assuming again that we get the 2 material fusions. If not, then it's XYZ, but this makes it a little bit easier to build the XYZ Dragon Cannon. For example, you could Frontline Base 1 piece out, you could normal summon the 2nd piece out, and then you could roll out the 3rd piece from the grave to one of those monsters, have its effect summon itself, and drop XYZ Dragon Cannon. We need more Union support. Here's more Union support. Speaking of more Union support, let's talk about Formation Union. This is a normal trap that says activate one of the following effects. Either you equip 1 Union monster on your side of the field to an appropriate monster on your side of the field as an equip spell, or you unequip one of your Union monsters and special summon it to the field in face-up attack position. This essentially allows you to do an extra thing that you normally could do. Both all Union monsters, you can either once per turn do one or the other. This allows you to then kind of delve a little bit further into that. Let's say you wanted to attack with both of them, but in the main phase 2, oh wait, Speed Duels doesn't have a main phase 2, you can use Formation Union on the end of the turn to equip one of those things back to one of your monsters to protect it in the future turns or whatever. But this is just more ways to intersect your Union monsters, so to speak, and switch them around in any way that you'd like to better set yourself up for better situations. The next card I have on the list is Trigon. This is a level 3 Fire Dragon Union effect monster with 500 attack and 1700 defense. This card says once per turn during your main phase, you can equip this card to a machine monster or unequip it and special summon it in face-up attack position. This card has actually only had 1 printing, so it doesn't have problem-solving text yet. While equipped to a monster by this effect, if the equipped monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, this would be essentially target 1 level 4 or lower light monster in your grave and special summon it. And then in parentheses, old Union monsters used to always say a monster can only be equipped with a Union at a time. If the equipped monster be destroyed, destroy this card instead. It's just something you know about Unions in the future. So they got rid of that in the future cards. But Trigon is a fairer version, in my opinion, of a card I originally had on this list, which is Heavy Mech Support Armor, not to be confused with Heavy Mech Support Platform. Heavy Mech Support Armor is a level 3 light machine Union effect, 500 attack and defense, that says if this card is normal summoned, you can target 1 Union monster in your grave, special summon it. Once per turn, you can either target a machine monster you control, equip it to that target, or unequip it and special summon it. Your opponent cannot target a monster equipped with this card with card effects. Also, if the equipped monster be destroyed by battle, a card effect destroys the card instead. Where I think this card draws the line is whatever it equips to, the equipped monster cannot be targeted by card effects. And I guess that's not insane, but I don't want to make XYZ Dragon Cannon a problem. And if you had this equipped to that, that might be a problem. In addition, originally I looked at this as being fine because the downside is if you already have one of those fusions up, they have the continuous effect that you can't special summon from the graveyard, so then this card can't use its normal summon effect. But it still can equip to something and then make it almost invincible. And I don't know if that's fair yet. And I don't think it is fair yet, so we're going to go Trigon instead, which is a little bit slower. You'd have to summon this, equip it to a machine, and then have that machine that's equipped with this destroy an opponent's monster by battle. Then you can bring back one of your level 4 or lower light machines from your graveyard. So it still serves the purpose of bringing something back, but you have to destroy something by battling it instead of just summoning it straight up into your main phase. Again, Speed Duels doesn't have a main phase 2, so this card only makes itself super interesting if the thing you brought back with its effect survives. It's, you know, it's a lot slower, but the alternative is a card that I think just is a little too strong. If it didn't have the effect where if equipped to the equipped monster couldn't be targeted by card effects, then maybe I'd be okay with it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if you think heavy mech support armor is fine. In which case, then I'd replace it with Trigon. I'd much rather have heavy mech support armor, but I don't want to make XYZ Dragon Cannon insane out of the gate. So, let me know what you think. The next card I have is Combination Attack. This is a quick play spell that says during a battle phase, you can use this effect on one monster that is attacked this turn and is equipped with a Union monster. Change the Union monster back to a monster in face-up attack position or defense position. Also, the monster that was equipped with the Union monster may attack again this turn. This card also hasn't had problem-solving card text, but basically, you use this on the Union monster. You're allowed to special summon it in attack or defense position, and you then can attack with the monster that was equipped with the Union again, as well as the Union monster that you summoned if you summoned it in attack position, which sounds crazy, but I think it's only like for those all-in type plays. I don't think this would be overpowered at all, but I would love to see if this card would actually kind of be broken in Speed Duels, because this is a card that never really saw play ever. And I love when like terrible cards in regular Yu-Gi-Oh! Become insane in Speed Duels, like Illusionist Faceless Magician or Offerings of the Doomed, for example. It's just really fun. Do keep in mind, however, that the monster this is used on has to have already attacked this turn while it was equipped with a Union monster. So if a monster is attacking you and it's equipped with a Union and you stop it through the a million ways that we have to stop an attack, this card can't be used to then detach the Union and put it on the field. So, you know, there is a downside. The next card I have is an equipped spell that is a bit of a generic option and obviously over time may get a lot better, especially if it gets released early, kind of like Allure of Darkness, but that is DDR, aka Different Dimension Reincarnation. This is an equipped spell that says discard one card, then target one of your banished monsters, special summon it in attack position, and equip it with this card. When this card leaves the field, destroy the equipped monster. You are banishing these cards for the materials to summon these fusion type monsters, so what better way to then reuse the same card than by bringing it back from the banished zone. There are a lot of different ways to bring things back from banished. Originally I was thinking Burial from a Different Dimension instead of this, but Burial was abused in regular Yu-Gi-Oh! For a very long time, and I'm sure it would get used here as well. Also, it targets up to 3 cards, so if you have all 3 banished for XYZ, you throw them back in the graveyard, you find a way to bring them back to the field, you drop another XYZ, that's kind of insane. Let's just choose one card. Also, you have to discard a card here, so you technically -1 to bring back a combo piece that you can use for a later fusion. Right now, I think this is fine. There's not a lot of banish in the game. Like I said, with the Kaiba top 10, DD Warrior could probably come over. We could probably get a few different dimension cards at this point in this game. And then I don't know if this would be insane with those specifically, but I think this isn't terrible. Also, this would be a good counter to DD Warrior if that card saw a tremendous amount of competitive play. So, I mean, there's always that. But I do like this card in the simple fact that it brings back your combo piece for one of your fusions in the future of the game. Now guys, do me a favor and don't hate on this next choice, alright? The next one I have is Union Driver. I know this just came out, okay? Level 5 Light Machine Union effect, 2100 attack, 1000 defense. Just let me explain myself, okay? Once per turn, you can either target one face-up monster you control, equip this card to that target, or unequip this card and special summon it. If the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, destroy this card instead. Basic Union effects. When this card is equipped to a monster, you can banish this equipped card, equip one level 4 or a lower appropriate Union monster from your deck to the monster this card was equipped to. You can only use this effect of Union Driver once per turn. I know I just talked about DDR, so you're like, oh, a loop, alright, we banish this, we do its effect, we DDR it back, boom, yeah, maybe, I don't know. It's only once per turn, but also, if you want to put this on the board, you're going to have to hard tribute it. And I get that there are ways to play around that, but it's level 5, so you can't frontline base it. You can't bring it back with Trigon. You're gonna have to hard tribute it in most cases. I get that you could send it to the graveyard and then roll out it back, or maybe find a way to formation union it over time, but I don't think this by itself is insane unless you add Union Hanger to the mix. So Union Driver by itself would have to be hard tributed to then use its effect, equip it, then get its effect, banish it, and equip a level 4 or lower appropriate Union monster from your deck to that monster. Again, if we get the 2 material fusions, then maybe not so much this card, but if we're just focusing on XYZ Dragon Cannon as our one and all, our end all, be all, this I think is okay. I guess maybe I should give it a little more playtesting. I am going to try in the coming weeks to make a video similar to what I did with Legendary Ocean, and test out unions with all of the things that I've been suggesting. So I guess we'll see how Union Driver pays off. But I think it's okay. I think it's okay. The last card I have on this list is a bit of a troll, and that is the fusions. Yes, I know you're like, wait, but in the beginning of the video you said you don't want the fusions. You're right. I think for speed duels, that's a bit too strong to go off of. But I would love to see these in the game, assuming everything else is power crept to the same level. And what I mean by that is if you take most of the cards on this list and you add these 3 cards, this deck is insane. And I mean, maybe I'm overshooting it a bit, but I think, and this is just my opinion, I think this deck could do a lot with the options it has for its sandbox, so to speak. Like, if you give it all 4 fusions out of the gate, it has a lot of plays. If you give it some of the cards that I've mentioned, it has a lot of combos, and it has decent recovery if you give it something like DDR or a card I'm going to drop on my honorable mention in a second. And the only reason I have these again on the list is simply because the card I originally had as my number 10 eventually then got thrown as an honorable mention and then replaced with a slightly less powerful version of it. But then that got thrown as an honorable mention because I just think both of them are too strong. And that is both unauthorized reactivation and then Union Hanger. I know from the thumbnail you guys knew Union Hanger was going to come up eventually, and it wasn't just going to be in that tidbit I brought up. If you notice in the picture of Union Hanger, it actually has X Head Cannon, Y Dragon Head, and Z Metal Tank in its hanger. It's not even like ABC. Even actually off the cut of the picture, you see W from, what is it, V and W from GX. Like, Union Hanger can summon them all. So let's explain both of these cards real quick. Unauthorized Reactivation is a quick play spell that says target a machine monster you control. Equip one appropriate machine union monster from your hand or deck to that monster, but the union monster you equip cannot be special summoned this turn. You can only activate one unauthorized reactivation per turn. That seems fair and balanced in the sense that, you know, you can equip it, but you can't summon it, therefore you can't go the full distance. Opposing that though is Union Hanger, which is when it's activated, you can add a light machine union monster from your deck to your hand. There's your search card that's just strictly better than Peacekeeper. And then also once per turn, if a light machine union monster is normal or special summoned to your field except during the damage step, you can target one of those monsters. Equip an appropriate light machine union monster with a different name from the deck to that monster, but the union monster you equip cannot be special summoned this turn. So originally I had Union Hanger on this list for the 3 pieces, but it seems too quick. It just seems too fast. So then I was like, oh, well, they just made a slower version called Unauthorized Reactivation, so we'll put this on the list. But then the more you look at it, the more you're like, nah, they're both too good. Like, because with reactivation, if your monster's gonna die, you could activate this, equip something from the deck to it, protecting it. Then, like, if it's Peacekeeper, it falls off, gives you another search. That's good, but it might be too good, you know? So, like, if we're gonna get either one, it's gonna be reactivation, not Union Hanger. But at this point that the game is currently in Speed Duels, I think both are too fast. I just think they're too insane. And if I had to choose between these two and Union Driver, I think Union Driver is the fairest of the 3. So I went with Union Driver. At least with DDR, it gives Union Driver some combo playability to recycle it, so to speak. But these two cards are just ridiculous. So even though they're both, you can only do them once per turn. I mean, we're talking 20 card decks here, guys. Like, if you're pulling Union monsters left and right out of your deck in a 20 card deck, you're filing through this deck so quickly. This deck would be so consistent, and I just think that's a little too strong right now. The last honorable mention I have on this list is Union Scramble, and this is a normal trap card that says target up to 3 of your banished Light Machine type normal monsters and or Light Machine Union monsters, special summon them. So you can target all the pieces. You can target X, Y, and Z. X usually gets discounted because he's not a Union, but in this case, he counts. It special summons 3 things from Banish. This is even crazier than Burial from a Different Dimension, which was my original idea before DDR. And this is a trap card. You could just flip this, summon 3 monsters, and swing. Sure, you'd I guess have to have no monsters on your field for this to work, since we only have 3 zones. But still, like, summoning all 3 and doing an onslaught attack is kind of insane. Also, that's not all it does. It also has a quick effect that says, except the turn it was sent to the grave, you can banish it from your grave, target one of your banished Light Machine normal monsters or Light Machine Union monsters, and return to the hand. That effect, I think, is fine, but you're already summoning 3 through its first effect. It's just too strong right now. Speed Duels is not quite at that level yet of adaptability and playability, and all 3 of these cards, I think, would be too strong going in. So, unfortunately, I don't have a 10th card. I just want to reiterate, I'd bring the fusions in, but as I stated in the beginning video, I think the fusions might be too strong, but compared to these 3 cards, I think they're perfectly balanced. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. There's a big conversation to be had here with all this Union support. I know I didn't touch on other Union monsters specifically. I wanted to kind of leave it on XYZ theme, but I know there are other things like Darkblade and such. But let me know what you guys think down below. Comment, like, and subscribe as always. Click the notification bell to get all of our latest updates. And I'll see you guys in the next video.